Have you ever sat down with your morning coffee, looked at your breakfast plate, and thought, why am I still feeling sluggish, even after a full night's sleep? Or maybe you've noticed your energy just doesn't last like it used to. You're not alone. A lot of people over 60 feel the same way, even when they think they're eating healthy. Now here's the thing, we all want to age gracefully, right? Stay sharp, stay strong, and feel good in our bodies for as long as possible. And while there are tons of factors that influence how we age, there's one that often gets overlooked: what we eat first thing in the morning. Yep, your breakfast choices could be making or breaking your day. Now I know that might sound a little dramatic, but bear with me. Studies are starting to show that some of the most common breakfast foods, the ones we've been told for decades are healthy, may actually be doing more harm than good, especially as we get older. In fact, Harvard researchers have found that breakfast plays a powerful role in regulating metabolism, managing inflammation, and even protecting brain health. But only if we're eating the right things. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore 3 popular breakfast foods that people over 60 might want to think twice about, and why they could be silently sabotaging your energy, your digestion, and even your memory. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the last one, because it's something nearly all of us grew up thinking was the perfect way to start the day. But first, a quick heads up. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, now let's get into the first food, and I'm warning you, this one might surprise you. Let's talk about breakfast cereals. You know, the ones that claim to be heart healthy or high in fiber or fortified with vitamins. You might even have a favorite you've been eating for years. But here's the kicker. Many of those cereals are packed with refined grains and added sugars, even the so-called healthy ones. And why does that matter, especially after 60? Well, our bodies become more sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations as we age. That means eating something high in sugar first thing in the morning can spike your glucose levels, give you a quick burst of energy, and then crash. That's why so many people feel tired or hungry again just an hour or 2 after breakfast. In fact, according to a 2022 study published in the journal Nutrients, older adults who consumed diets high in added sugar had significantly higher markers of inflammation, things like C-reactive protein, which are linked to chronic conditions like arthritis, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's. And it's not just about sugar. Even cereals that are labeled whole grain are often highly processed, which means they're digested quickly and don't keep you full for long. So if you're reaching for that bowl of flakes, puffs, or clusters thinking you're doing something good for your heart or brain, just double-check that label. It might be a sugar bomb in disguise. I actually knew a woman named Carla. She was 68 when I met her. Every morning, she'd have a bowl of cereal with skim milk and a banana. She thought it was healthy, but she was always feeling tired, cranky before lunch, and dealing with what she called brain fog. When she switched to a more protein-rich breakfast, like scrambled eggs with some sautéed veggies, she told me it was like flipping a switch. I don't crash anymore, she said, and I actually feel full. Which brings us to another big culprit, flavored yogurts. Now, I'm not saying yogurt is bad. In fact, plain Greek yogurt can be a fantastic source of protein and probiotics. But many flavored yogurts, especially the ones marketed to older adults as light or digestive friendly, are loaded with sugar or artificial sweeteners. Here's something wild. A single serving of fruit-flavored yogurt can have as much sugar as a candy bar. And again, we're back to those blood sugar spikes that leave you feeling drained. Even worse, studies have shown that artificial sweeteners, like aspartame or sucralose, which are often found in light yogurts, may negatively affect gut health over time. One 2023 review published in Frontiers in Nutrition found that artificial sweeteners could alter the gut microbiome and potentially increase the risk of metabolic issues. And let's not forget, our gut health is closely tied to our brain health. You've probably heard about the gut-brain connection, right? Researchers are learning that the bacteria in our digestive tract play a role in everything from mood regulation to memory. So what you feed your gut really does matter. Instead of flavored yogurt, try mixing plain Greek yogurt with fresh berries, cinnamon, and maybe a drizzle of raw honey if you want a touch of sweetness. It's delicious, and you'll avoid the sugar roller coaster. Now, before we wrap up part 1, let's take a moment to reflect on something important. Making changes, especially to something as personal as your breakfast routine, can feel daunting. Maybe you've been eating the same thing for decades. Maybe it's tied to memories or comfort. That's okay. The goal here isn't perfection, it's progress. Even small swaps can lead to big benefits. And the more you understand what your body really needs, especially after 60, the easier it gets to make choices that support your energy, your brain, and your long-term vitality. So far, we've talked about cereals and flavored yogurts, but there's one more breakfast food we haven't touched on yet. And this last one, it's probably sitting in your fridge right now. It's something people eat thinking they're saving time, staying light, or being health conscious, but it might be working against you in a big way. Alright, welcome back. So far, we've talked about 2 sneaky breakfast foods that might be dragging your energy down: cereal and flavored yogurt. And if you've been eating those thinking they were healthy, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. Most of us were raised on the idea that a quick bowl of cereal or a fruit-flavored yogurt cup was the perfect way to start the day. But as we get older, our bodies just don't process those foods the same way anymore. Now let's talk about the third popular breakfast food that might be doing more harm than good, especially if you're over 60. Ready? It's processed breakfast meats like bacon and sausage. Now hang on. I'm not here to ruin your love for crispy bacon or those weekend brunch traditions. I totally get the comfort factor, but it's important to understand what these foods are really doing inside your body, especially as we age. You see, processed meats are high in saturated fats and often contain nitrates, sodium, and preservatives that can trigger inflammation and increase the risk of chronic diseases. And the older we get, the more sensitive we become to those inflammatory triggers. In fact, the World Health Organization has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, which means there's strong evidence they can contribute to cancer risk. And beyond that, research published in the British Medical Journal found that people who regularly consumed processed meats had a higher risk of cardiovascular disease and early death. But here's what really got my attention. A 2021 study in neurology found that high consumption of processed meats was linked to cognitive decline in older adults. That's right, those breakfast sausages might be affecting more than just your heart. They could be messing with your memory too. I remember talking to a man named Steve. He was 66 and had always loved his bacon and eggs in the morning. But he started noticing that he was more forgetful, more sluggish. At first, he thought it was just part of aging. Then his doctor suggested he try cutting back on processed meats and instead adding more plant-based proteins like tofu, lentils, or even eggs with avocado. Within weeks, Steve said he felt noticeably better. He told me, "I didn't realize food could make such a difference in how clear-headed I feel. It's like I cleaned out the cobwebs." And that's the power of making small changes to your breakfast. You don't have to give up flavor. You just have to rethink where that flavor's coming from. Try turkey bacon with no added nitrates, or experiment with veggie-packed breakfast scrambles. Or if you're up for something new, try a plant-based sausage alternative made with whole ingredients. Some of them are surprisingly tasty, and your body will thank you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is it really that big of a deal? I only eat bacon a couple of times a week. And hey, that might be totally fine for you. The key is paying attention to how your body responds and knowing what those foods are doing behind the scenes. When you understand that connection, it gets easier to choose what truly nourishes you. And that brings us to something even more important: what to eat instead. Because here's the truth, when we just focus on what not to eat, it can feel like we're giving things up. And let's be real, nobody wants to start their day with a sense of restriction. So let's shift that mindset. Breakfast can be incredibly enjoyable and energizing if you build it around foods that fuel your brain, your muscles, and your metabolism. Think fiber, healthy fats, and especially protein. As we age, our protein needs actually increase. But most people over 60 don't get enough, especially in the morning. Protein helps maintain muscle mass, supports brain function, and even helps regulate blood sugar. Starting your day with a high-protein meal can set you up for fewer cravings and more sustained energy throughout the day. One easy go-to: eggs. They're nutrient-dense, packed with protein and B vitamins, and they help keep you full. Pair them with sautéed greens, a little avocado, and some whole grain toast, and you've got a breakfast that supports your brain, your heart, and your energy levels. Another favorite of mine is a protein smoothie. Blend up some spinach, frozen berries, Greek yogurt or plant-based protein powder, and a spoonful of nut butter. You get fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats, and it's easy on the digestion. And speaking of digestion, that's another reason why your breakfast matters more than ever after 60. Our gut health tends to change with age. We produce less stomach acid, our digestion slows down, and things like bloating or constipation can become more common. Eating a breakfast that supports healthy digestion can make your whole day feel lighter. So think about adding in fiber-rich foods, chia seeds, oats, berries, flaxseed. They feed the good bacteria in your gut and help keep things moving. And remember, hydration is key too. Starting your morning with a glass of water, maybe with a slice of lemon, can gently wake up your digestive system and flush out toxins from the night before. Now you might be wondering, if I make all these changes, how soon will I feel the difference? Honestly, for many people, it's almost immediate. Within a few days, they notice more energy, fewer cravings, better focus. And over time, the benefits build. Reduced inflammation, healthier weight, improved cholesterol, better blood sugar control. It all starts to stack up. I've seen it time and time again with people just like you. People in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who start making simple changes to their morning routine and feel decades younger. But I also know that change isn't always easy, especially when it comes to food. There's a lot of emotion and memory tied into our meals. Sometimes it feels like we're giving up part of our identity, but I promise you this: what you gain in energy, clarity, and confidence is so much greater than what you give up. And you don't have to do it all at once. Try switching just one breakfast this week. See how you feel, then go from there. Now that we've talked about the what to avoid, what to add, let's shift gears a little. Because knowing what to eat is one thing, but sticking with it is another story. And let's face it, staying motivated as we get older can be tough. Pain, fatigue, even self-doubt can creep in and make change feel overwhelming. But here's the good news: there are ways to overcome those challenges, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. So if you've ever felt like, I'm too tired to cook in the morning, or it's too late for me to change now, you're going to want to hear what's coming up. If you're enjoying this so far and want more simple, science-backed tips to stay healthy as you age, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share helpful videos just like this every week, because staying healthy should feel empowering, not overwhelming. Now let's talk about the real-world stuff. We've gone over what to avoid and what to eat for breakfast. But let's be honest, knowing something and actually doing it every day are two very different things, right? That's especially true as we get older. I've heard from so many people who say things like, I'm too set in my ways, or I just don't have the energy anymore, or I want to eat better, but I don't even know where to start. And that's completely understandable. Change feels big. It feels like a mountain sometimes. But let me tell you about a man named Paul. He's 72, retired, and for most of his life, breakfast was bacon, eggs, and toast. Every single day. He didn't think much about it. He was healthy enough, stayed active, and loved the routine. But over time, he started noticing some changes. He was more tired during the day, his joints ached more, and he couldn't remember names as quickly as he used to. His doctor didn't find anything alarming, but suggested trying a few dietary changes. Paul was skeptical, but he figured, why not try? So he started small. He swapped bacon for avocado. He added a handful of blueberries to his toast. And one day a week, he made a smoothie instead of his usual breakfast. Within 2 months, he told me something I'll never forget. I feel 10 years younger. And the funny thing is, he didn't overhaul his entire life. He just made small tweaks. But those small tweaks added up. Less inflammation, better digestion, more clarity, more energy to play with his grandkids. That's the thing about change. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. You don't need to go vegan or spend hours in the kitchen. You just need to be consistent. And consistency comes from why, not willpower. So let me ask you, what's your why? Maybe it's waking up with more energy. Maybe it's avoiding chronic illness so you can stay independent. Maybe it's having the mental clarity to enjoy your hobbies, your family, your life. Whatever your reason is, write it down. Say it out loud. Make it real. Because when you know why you're doing this, the how gets a whole lot easier. Now, I want to touch on something a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to healthy habits, and that's pain. Whether it's arthritis, back issues, or just the general aches that seem to show up out of nowhere after 60, pain can make even the smallest change feel impossible. I hear you. I've been there with my own parents. I remember my mom telling me, I'd love to cook healthier meals, but my hands hurt too much to chop vegetables. So what did we do? We found workarounds. Pre-chopped veggies, frozen fruits, a good blender, a kitchen stool so she could sit instead of stand. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. She got what she needed without pushing through pain, and her health improved anyway. The key is adapting, not giving up. And here's something else you might not expect. Moving your body, even just a little, can actually reduce pain. I know that sounds backward, but science backs it up. A study from the American College of Rheumatology found that older adults with joint pain, who did light strength training 2 to 3 times a week, had significantly less pain and stiffness over time. You don't have to lift weights at the gym. You can start with resistance bands, water aerobics, or even chair yoga. Anything that gets you gently moving is a win. And if you're struggling with motivation, try this: habit stacking. It's simple. You take something you already do, like brushing your teeth, making coffee, or turning on the morning news, and stack a new habit onto it. For example, right arrow while your coffee brews, drink a glass of water. Right arrow after brushing your teeth, stretch for 60 seconds. Right arrow while watching the news, prep your smoothie ingredients. Over time, these little actions become automatic. And once something becomes a habit, it doesn't drain your mental energy anymore. It just happens. Now let's talk mindset. Because aging is just as much mental as it is physical. There's this idea that once you hit a certain age, it's all downhill. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, research from Yale University found that people who held a positive attitude about aging lived an average of 7.5 years longer than those who had a more negative outlook. That's powerful. Your mindset literally affects your lifespan. So instead of thinking, I'm too old for this, try asking, what's one small thing I can do to feel better today? Because you're not too old. You're wiser, more experienced, and you deserve to feel strong and vibrant for as long as possible. Another thing that can make a huge difference? Staying socially connected. I know life can get quieter after retirement. Friends move away. Family gets busy. But social isolation isn't just lonely, it's dangerous. Studies show it's linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, and even cognitive decline. So make a call. Send that text. Join a walking group or a local hobby club. Even just chatting with someone at the grocery store adds a little spark to your day. Your health isn't just what you eat or how you move. It's also who you connect with and how you feel. By now, you've learned a lot. You've seen how popular breakfast foods, like sugary cereals, flavored yogurts, and processed meats, can quietly chip away at your energy, your memory, and your long-term health. You've also seen how simple swaps, like fiber-rich oats, antioxidant-packed berries, protein-filled eggs, and plant-based alternatives, can lift you up and help you feel younger, sharper, and more in control. And most importantly, you've learned that it's never too late to make a change. So let's bring this all together in one final message, one final boost of motivation to carry you forward, because you deserve to wake up each day feeling energized, clear-headed, and excited for what's next. That's exactly what we'll do in the next part, so don't go anywhere. We're wrapping things up with some heartfelt final takeaways, a simple challenge you can start today, and a little inspiration to keep you going no matter where you are on your journey. So here we are. You've stuck with me through the science, the swaps, the stories, and hopefully, you're starting to see that healthy aging isn't about deprivation or strict rules. It's about empowerment. It's about waking up each day knowing you have choices that move you closer to the kind of life you want to live. And the first step, it's as simple as what's on your breakfast plate. Because let's be honest, those so-called healthy breakfast foods we've relied on for years, they've been sneaky. Sweetened yogurts, sugar-packed cereals, processed breakfast meats, they're marketed as convenient and tasty, but they quietly wear us down over time. But the good news? Now you know better. And when you know better, you can do better. Swapping sugary cereals for oats or chia pudding. That's not just about fiber. It's about fueling your brain and keeping your energy stable throughout the day. Skipping the flavored yogurt and going for plain Greek yogurt with berries? That's giving your gut the good bacteria it needs while avoiding the sugar roller coaster. Saying goodbye to processed meats and hello to plant-powered breakfasts with avocado, nut butters, or tofu scramble. That's how you start reducing inflammation and protecting your heart. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. There will be mornings when you grab what's easy. That's life. But what matters is that, more often than not, you're choosing foods that truly support your body. Foods that leave you feeling clear-headed, strong, and ready for the day. Now, I want to leave you with something practical. A challenge. Something small that you can try starting tomorrow morning. When you wake up, before you reach for anything else, ask yourself, is this breakfast fueling my future or draining my energy? That one question can shift everything. It brings you back to your intention. It makes breakfast a conscious choice, not just a habit. And if the answer isn't what you'd like, don't beat yourself up. Just try again the next day. That's the beauty of breakfast. You get another shot every single morning. And here's something powerful to remember. It's never too late. Studies continue to show that changing your diet, even later in life, can have massive benefits. In fact, a long-term study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that older adults who switched to a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, and lean proteins, reduced their risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even early death. And these weren't people in their 30s or 40s. They were in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. As Dr. Michael Greger often says, the vast majority of our risk for chronic disease is determined by what we put in our mouths, how we move our bodies, and how we manage stress, not by our genes. That means you are not stuck. You have the power to influence your health. Starting today. And beyond the science, let's talk about how it feels. When you start your day with food that supports you, not slows you down, you feel it in your joints, your energy, your mood. You notice you're thinking more clearly, moving more easily, maybe even smiling more. It ripples out. You have more patience with your partner, more curiosity about the world, more joy in your routine. That's what this is really about. Not just years on your life, but life in your years. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last message. Aging doesn't mean giving up your health. It means taking charge of it in a smarter, more loving way. You've already taken the first step by watching this video. And that tells me something important about you. You care. You're ready. And you believe that your best days can still be ahead of you. So now it's your turn. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical, science-backed tips for healthy aging. Because this isn't just about breakfast. It's about taking your power back, one small step at a time. You've got this, and we're with you every step of the way. Here's to living your best life, at any age.